My name is Shaohan, I am 28 years old. I spent 5 years in this company called Tianqi Technology and finally got involved in the position of the market manager. In fact, this place is a battleground. Every day, you either fight wisely and bravely with customers or be intrigued by internal people. But I never thought that today's meeting would force me to the cliff. In the meeting room, the air was like an ice cellar, making people tremble. Several big men of the board sat in the main seat. Chen Hao's old face was filled with a meaningful smile, and his eyes shaved like a knife. He was the last person on the board of directors who always felt that I climbed too fast and slashed his way. Today, I know that it is coming to me. Shaohan, Chen Hao spoke slowly, his language full of mockery. Recently, the market share has dropped by almost 10 points. The competitors, Thunder Group, has launched a price battle, which has won our customers by 70% or 80% of our customers. Should you, the market manager, give us explanations? My heart tightened and my palms began to sweat. Cheng Zhe, CEO of Thunder Group, is a tough guy, and the price battle is so powerful that we can't resist. As customers change jobs, the company's business report declines in a direct line like a machine. I gritted my teeth and replied, President Chen, we are already adjusting our strategies, and there will be a new plan to fight the price soon. New plan? Ha, Chen Hao sneered, leaned on the back of the chair, knocking on the table. I think you have limited capabilities and can't control the market. As a young man, he has a clean income and cannot carry the main rope, which is normal. Otherwise, this position will still allow more experienced people to come. As soon as this happened, the atmosphere in the conference room became more intense. The other directors didn't say anything, but their eyes were whispering on me, as if they were watching a good show. I know that Chen Hao wanted to take the opportunity to kick me down and change to his person. The fire in my heart came up, but I couldn't say anything hard. After all, the data was there, and I was not able to calm down. Just as I was so full of redness and my brain was in a mess, I suddenly heard a voice, not from whom I said it, but directly in my brain, this little girl is going to be done. My nephew should have come to the position of the market manager. I was stunned and looked up. Chen Hao still had the same smile and no smile, and his mouth was not moving at all. But what happened with this sound? I looked at it again and found that there was a slight pride in his eyes, and another sentence came to my brain, when she stepped down, I can put all the projects into my hands, My heart beat faster. What happened? Can I hear what Chen Hao thinks? This is too disgusting. But this sound is really true, and it is worthy of his expression. I strongly suppressed the shock in my heart, pretended to sweep my eyes at the meeting room, tried to concentrate, but found that the heart voice of several other directors was also constantly diamonding into my ears. This little girl looks very hard, but unfortunately she's not defeated by encountering such a tough stubborn group. The veteran Chen Hao wants to fight internally again, and it's so turbulent. The market is almost gone, and there is still internal waste. My skin was numb and my fingers clenched my pen unconsciously. Is this ability difficult to tell? God opened my eyes to me? I didn't have time to think about it because Chen Hao was in trouble again. Shaohan, don't just sit down and say something real is coming out, otherwise it would be meaningless if this meeting continues. I took a deep breath and my brain flew rapidly. Since I can hear their thoughts, can I fight back? But I haven't understood how to use this ability yet, so I can only calm down. General Chen, it is indeed my responsibility to decline in the market, but I have contacted several large customers, and there will be a key discussion on the venue this afternoon. If I can win this order, it will be a transfer for the company. Chen Hao raised his eyebrows, obviously disbelief. Big customer. Don't be some small-scale singles, waste your time. I didn't answer him, and his heart sounded in my brain, it's just right that I can't get the order. I'll give me a reason to kick her out. I sneered in my heart, okay, Chen Hao, you wait. I must take this one today. The meeting ended, and I rushed back to the office directly. My brain was still buzzing. What happened to the ability to read mental arts? I tried to recall that I was fine when I left in the morning, and there seemed to be nothing unusual when I had lunch. Wait. I suddenly remembered that I worked overtime until midnight last night and passed by the old bookstore under the company building. I bought a weird book, and there was a ghost-like Secret of the Heart written on the cover. After turning through several pages at that time, I fell asleep when I was so impatient. Is it related to that book? I didn't have time to think about it anymore, and the afternoon talks were imminent. This customer is Mr. Lee, who is the head of a chain retailer. The orders in hand can top our business performance for a quarter. But this person is notoriously troublesome. He has not been able to make a few discussions before, and he even said that our product quality and price ratio is not good, so he is ready to change jobs to Thunder Group. I took the team to the cafe, and President Lee was already sitting there, his face as if he had owed him millions. As soon as I sat down, I tried to concentrate and wanted to hear his thoughts. Sure enough, his voice immediately echoed in his brain, the sky is here again, and the price does not drop to the level of thunder, so there is no need to talk about it. However, if they can really give it a little sweet, they can consider it again. The minimum line is a 15% reduction per order. My heart was shocked, and the price was reduced by 15%. This is his bottom line. The price we reported was only 5% lower before, no wonder he didn't buy money. I pretended to look at the documents with my head low, and the speed plate in my brain was counting. If the company's profits are directly reduced by 15%, the company's profits will be very low, but taking this order can hit Chinhao's face hard and give the market a dispute. Fight. Presently, I raised my head and smiled confidently. We know you are polite about prices, so this time I specially adjusted the price, which was reduced by 15% per order, and the subsequent cooperation can also provide additional technical support. You see, is this kind of intimacy? Li Zongming was stunned, with a flash of surprise in his eyes, and his mouth was still hard. 15%? Humph, Thunder is more than this discount. I heard the voice in his heart, this little girl really dares to report the price. 15% is just stuck in my bottom line, and technical support is not bad. Okay, sign it first, don't let Thunder be cheap. I was delighted, and on the surface I was calm. Presently, Thunder's price battle is short-term, and their product quality is not comparable to ours. You cooperate with us and come and see it for a long time. Today I sign up and I can still fight for a batch of free trial products. President Lee finally pointed and said with a hint, okay, I believe you once. But I heard a remark in his heart, this girl has some skills, and the negotiations are quite good. After the contract was signed, my palms were covered in sweat, and my smile seemed to be as good as if nothing had happened. After seeing off President Lee, I almost sat on the chair. This kind of mental reading is a magical tool. If it wasn't for hearing his bottom line, this one would be yellow. When I returned to the company at night, I threw the contract directly on Chinhao's desk. He looked at the signed contract and his face looked like he had eaten a fry, and he forced himself to say, this one is still a good match. I heard his voice in my heart, how did you do this? President Lee's old fox is not easy to deal with. No, I must find another opportunity to suppress her. I smiled and said with a polite voice, Mr. Chen has won the award, and the market will continue to work hard. When I walked out of his office, I clenched my fists and a fire ignited in my heart. Chinhao, let's take a look. This is just beginning. With the learning skills, I don't believe in fighting, but you and the Thunder Group help. Next, I want to let Tianqi Technology stand up again and let everyone who looks down on me shut up. Back at the workstation, I sent a WeChat message to Gumiki Engsu, Shua, I have something big to tell you, I'll meet and chat tomorrow. Qianxue replied in seconds, what's the matter? It depends on your temperament, how come it is like winning a lottery? I smiled and turned off my phone, leaned on the back of the chair, my brain full of future plans. I have to use this card in the heart arts. Whether it is Chinhao's internal struggle or Cheng Zai's price battle, Shaohan will not let go of any of them. The next morning, I crawled into the company with dark circles on my face, and my brain was still savoring the pleasure of yesterday's debate. After signing President Lee's order, the taxi in the market was much higher, and even my colleagues began to take the initiative to say hello to me. However, I know in my heart that this is just the beginning. Chen Hao's old fox will not let me go easily, and the Thunder Group's acceptance is not a fuel-efficient light. I have to take advantage of the trump card of my mind and get a few more large orders and stand firmly. As soon as I sat down, my phone shook. It was Qianshua's news. Shaohan, what was the big thing I said last night? Don't sell the secrets, I'm almost curious. I replied with a smile, I'll have lunch and chat. I'll tell you in person, I'll be shocked. Qianshua rolled her eyes and said, okay, it's awesome to me, right? Let's see. The morning time is basically preparing for the next discussion. This time, my opponent is a company called Huaxing Logistics. The boss, General Wang, holds half of the logistics resources in our industry. He has a great intention to cooperate, but his conditions are also extremely confusing. People from the market talked about it several times before, but they were all picked up by him, saying that our quotes were too high and our services could not keep up. I looked through the information and felt a little hypnotic in my heart, but when I thought of reading the mind, I felt a little more at ease. The debate location is around the meeting room of a high-end hotel. I arrived half an hour in advance with the team, arranged the materials and adjusted my attitude. At 10 o'clock, President Wang came in with his assistant, wearing a suit and a stylus, without any expression on his face, and sat down and headed straight to the topic. Manager Xiao, I don't have much time, let's talk shortly. I have read your quotes, but it's still a problem. The sex price is not good. The Thunder Group opened a new condition the day before yesterday, and the price is 8 points lower than you. If you don't like it, there is no need to continue this debate. I felt nervous, and the Thunder Group came to the bureau again, and I was in a position to bring people no breath. I smiled and said, President Wang, price is not the only standard. Our service and technical support are top-notch in the industry. If you cooperate with us, you will definitely get the ticket price back. During my speech, I focused and tried to hear his voice. Sure enough, President Wang's thoughts quickly came to mind. This little girl said it was pretty good, but the price on Thunder is really intimidating. However, there have been complaints about their service recently. If Tianshi can reduce the price again, it can be considered if it is a bonus. I was delighted and I touched the bottom line. He has a lot of concern for Thunder's service, and this is my breakthrough. I pretended to flip the files low, and calculated the speed plate in my brain, then raised my head and smiled and said, Mr. Wang, do you want to reduce this by 6 points on the original price base? And at the same time, the logistics system upgrade service was provided for free in the first quarter to help you improve transportation efficiency. Do you think this kind of honesty is not enough? General Wang raised his eyebrows slightly, and he didn't express his feelings, but I heard him muttering, download 6 points, and send a system upgrade? This condition is much stronger than Thunder. Okay, sign it first, don't let Thunder leak. He cleared his throat and said in a sensational manner, well, the conditions are okay, and I can barely accept it. The contract is ready, so I will sign it today. I strongly suppressed the excitement in my heart and said, the contract can be signed at any time, don't worry, Mr. Wang. In less than half an hour, the contract was finalized. Mr. Wang left with his assistant. I leaned on the chair and let out a sigh of relief. When the team's little Zhang Feng came over, he was full of admiration. Sister Xiao, why are you so awesome? You can take down that kind of old weapon by President Wang. I smiled and said, I am very enthusiastic and have been fully prepared. I was secretly proud in my heart. Reading the mind is really my secret weapon. In the next few days, I ran 3 consecutive verdicts like a chicken-blooded fight. With my mental skills, I accurately stuck on the customer's bottom line every time, and took down all 3 large orders. The company heard this at a high level and finally began to look at me with admiration. The general managers pointed out the famous list at the internal meetings, saying that this wave of operation in the market, stable company's basic plate. Although Chen Hao's face was still as bad as if he was not a debt, he could not help but pick up a few words like, fuck it well. I heard his heart sound, full of gritting teeth and slight scent. Why is this girl so evil recently? Every time I discuss, I'm going to be closed. No, I have to find a chance to squeeze her again. I sneered in my heart, Chinhao, please hold on, I haven't tried my best yet. The successes of these several stages made me feel full of confidence, and the atmosphere in the market improved a lot, and everyone's eyes turned from suspicion to convincing. I even began to fantasize that if I could get a few more units, I might be able to join the board of directors at the end of the year and step on Chinhao's veteran guy. However, after a few days of complacency, I felt like a fucking fuck. At noon that day, Qianxue and I were having a meal at a restaurant near the company, and finally confessed to her about her mentality. After Qianxue finished hearing this, her mouth was so hot that she could stuff a chicken egg. She was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. What are you saying? Can you hear other people's thoughts? Shaohan, you didn't get angry, right? I held my hands helplessly. I felt so lonely at first, but the conversations over the past few days were all based on this ability, which was amazing. If you don't believe it, I'll try it now and hear what the guy is thinking at the next table. I glanced at a man wearing a glass at the table next to me, focused, and finally heard a sentence. This one is AA again, I'm so angry, who's the dinner? I smiled and told Qianxue in a low voice. Qianxue walked through my video and saw that the guy was complaining about AA with his friend. She believed it 80% of her eyes, and her eyes were filled with shock. This is too proud. Why did you get this ability? I shook my head. I don't know, it might be that weird book. Anyway, it's fine to use it now. But you can only know this, and I don't believe anyone else. Qianxue pointed and said with a serious expression, okay, I'll keep it confidential. But you have to be careful. If someone discovers this ability, it will be very irritating. By the way, I recently analyzed the market data and found that it was a bit abnormal. Our company's price information seemed to have been exposed in advance. The action of the Thunder Group is always one step faster than us. My heart skipped a beat, insider. This made me feel alert in an instant. Qianxue is the top business analyst in the company, and her straightforwardness has never been wrong. I asked, is there any trace? Who might have fucked this? Qianxue shook her head. There is no specific evidence yet, but I will continue to dig. You have been more careful recently, especially new people, don't believe everything. She reminded me that the company has recently recruited several newcomers, including a girl named Huang Xiaowen. She took the initiative to approach me shortly after coming in. She said she was an assistant to the market department. She was usually very enthusiastic and asked Dong Shi. I didn't think much about it at that time. I thought she was a novice and wanted to show it, but now looking back, her problem is a bit too precise, and she always redirects our discussion strategy and customer list. When I returned to the company in the afternoon, I specifically inspected Huang Xiaowen. She sat in the workstation, seemingly sorting out information, but her eyes glanced at me from time to time. I tried to listen to her thoughts with my mind, but strangely, I could not hear anything, and my brain was blank, as if I was being held back by something. My heart sank. This was the first time I encountered this situation. I can hear the voices of others, why can't she do it? Is it because my ability has failed, or is there something special about her? I walked to her inadvertently and asked with a smile, Shiwen, how is your job recently? Are you doing anything to help? She raised her head and smiled sweetly, Sister Xiao, it's pretty good, but I don't know a lot about some data. I want to learn more with you. I pointed my head and said, no problem, on my mouth, and I always felt that I was not in a relationship. Her smile was so perfect that it was a bit fake. I tried to listen again, but I still couldn't hear anything. I could only suppress my suspicion first and pretend to go open as if nothing happened. On the other side, Cheng Zhe, the head of the Thunder Group, sat in the office, his face so dark that it could drip. He put a report in front of him, which reads that Tianqi Technology has recently won several large orders, and the market share is showing signs of a rebound. He snorted coldly and said to himself, what's going on with this woman Shaohan? Every time he talks, he's just like he can guess the customer's thoughts, and he's accurate to leave. This is not normal. He picked up his phone, read a number, and said in a low voice, Shiwen, what's going on? The confidential information on Tianqi must be obtained as soon as possible. Also, staring at Shaohan, I suspected that she had a problem. At the end of the phone, Huang Xiaowen's voice was soft and she smiled, don't worry, always, I've been mixed in. Shaohan has no defense for me. The information is being arranged and will be achieved soon. He closed the phone, Chengzai leaned on the back of the chair, and sneered at the corner of his mouth, Shaohan, no matter what tricks you have, I want to see how long you can hold it. At this time, I was sitting in the workstation and felt unspeakable uneasiness in my heart. Huang Xiaowen's abnormality, Qinshua's inner demons, and the continuous actions of the Thunder Group made me feel that a storm was approaching. I held the pen in my hand tightly and told myself that I had to hold on top no matter what was ahead. Reading the mind is my trump card, but I can't count on it all. Next, I have to be more careful and be cautious both inside and outside. I worked overtime to 9 o'clock in the evening, and the company's people were almost gone. I packed up my things and prepared to get off work. When I passed by Huang Xiaowen's workstation, I found that she was still there and was busy with something. I asked casually, Shiwen, why don't you leave this late? She smiled and raised her head, Sister Xiao, some information has not been finished, so please make it for tomorrow. I pointed my head and didn't say much, but the anxiety in my heart became even more intense. There were a bunch of documents on her desktop, and you could see a few words, customer list, at a glance. I pretended not to see it and turned away, but my brain had made up my mind and would talk to Qianxua tomorrow to dig out the matter clearly. When I walked out of the company building, the cold wind blew, I wrapped my coat tightly, and my brain was full of today's kind. Who is Huang Xiaowen? Why can't I hear her heart? Is the matter of the ghost related to her? And the guy Chengzai would never sit there and wait. What will happen next? I took a deep breath and told myself, Shaohan, stay calm, and the game just started. No matter who wants to mess with me, I have to let them know that they have caused an incorrect person. I sat in the workstation, holding a cup of coffee that was already clear in my hand, and my brain was full of the scene I saw when I passed by Huang Xiaowen's workstation last night. Although I just glanced at the document from the customer list, those words were engraved in my heart like a knife. Add to the internal ghost problem that Qianxua reminded her before, the more I think about it, the more I feel that I feel unfavorable. Huang Xiaowen is so passionate about her as if she was a little sun on the surface, but I can't even hear her thoughts with my mental skills. This is really evil in itself. Could she really have any problem? When I arrived at the company in the morning, I called Qianxua directly and told her all the doubts about yesterday. After Qianxua finished listening, her voice was filled with a bit of solemnity. Shaohan, I heard you, Huang Xiaowen really has a problem. Think about it, how can ordinary people resist your mental reading skills? If she has any special means, she would have known your ability long ago, and beware of you. My heart skipped a beat, guard against me? How is this possible? I just knew that Qianxua, a newcomer, how could Huang Xiaowen have such skills? However, Qianxua continued, no matter what, we can't be shocked. You are now mentally conscious. Although you can't hear her ideas, you can use them on others to interview her. In addition, I suggest you give false news to see if she reacts. If she is really an insider, you will be able to do it. My eyes lit up, this idea was a good idea. Just arresting her now is more realistic than guessing. I pointed, okay, that's all. Today I made a fake story and pretended to be accidentally let her see it. Let's stare at it to see what she does. Qianxua replied with a smile, then I will come to the company tonight and help you squat together. Let's take a look at how many cats this little girl hides. After quitting the phone, I started to calculate the game. In the morning, I specially posted a message in the market group, saying that there will be an emergency internal meeting in the afternoon, and I will discuss a secret new project involving cooperation with a large customer. The specific session will be sent to the internal system after the meeting. After the news came out, I pretended to look at Huang Xiaowen inadvertently. She looked down at her phone with no expression on her face, but I noticed that her fingers were slightly tilted, as if she had seen something important. I sneered in my heart, the fish has been sprinkled, it depends on whether you bite the pad. In order to make this scene more real, I specially prepared a fake document and wrote a bunch of virtual cooperation details, such as secret quotes and market expansion plans, with a large customer, all of which sounds great but actually have something. I put this document on the table, intentionally, and then pretended to leave the station if I had something to do, deliberately exposing it to Huang Xiaowen's visual area. As expected, I had just walked for a few minutes. Through the gap between the glass, I saw Huang Xiaowen standing up, pretending to pass by my workstation, staring at the document with her eyes fixedly. She looked around and confirmed that no one was paying attention. She quickly picked up the file and flipped through several pages, and even took out her phone to take a few photos. My heart beat faster, suppressing the past urge, pretending not to know anything, and continued to rub in the tea. But the problem is that although I saw her taking photos secretly, this is not a hard certificate. The documents were fake, she could say that she was just curious about it, it was no big deal. Moreover, I still can't hear her heart's voice, and I can't tell whether she is purely curious or something really scary. I tightened my phone and sent Qianxue a message, she has acted, but the evidence is not strong, what should I do? Qianxue replied quickly, don't worry, she took a photo and 80% of it will be passed on to the people behind her. Let's stay tonight and see how she transmits the information. If she can catch her evidence to contact the Thunder Group, this matter will be on the verge. I clicked my head and felt a little more at ease. At night, the company's people were almost gone. Qianxue and I pretended to work overtime, hid in the meeting room, staring at Huang Xiaowen's workstation through the gaps in the window of the leaf. As expected, she didn't leave, sat there playing with her cell phone with her head down, and occasionally looked up at the surroundings, as if she was confirming that anyone was paying attention to her. I tried to listen to the ideas of my colleagues around me with my mental skills, and I made sure no one discovered the small action here, but unfortunately, Huang Xiaowen's heart was still blank. At about 9.5 hours, Huang Xiaowen finally made a move. She got up to pack up her things, and walked towards the elevator with her cell phone. Qianxue and I looked at each other, followed with our hands and hid around the corner to observe. After entering the elevator, she did not press the floor, but directly snatched a phone call, with a low voice pressure. According to this, I have taken the document, there is a new project details inside, the prices and plans are very detailed. Am I sending it to you now? My heart was shocked. How could I bear it? Isn't this the responsibility of the Thunder Group? It's her indeed. Qianxue said softly beside me, record sound, keep recording. I quickly took out my phone and turned on the recording function. Although it was a little far away, I could barely record her voice. Huang Xiaowen continued, yes, Shaohan and the others discussed in the afternoon, I saw it secretly. Well, don't worry, I will continue to stare at it. After the phone was shut down, she lowered her head and operated the phone, probably sending a photo. Qianxue and I looked at each other and knew in our hearts that we had almost caught the testimony this time. But I still feel that I am not safe. What should I do if she cunningly says she is chatting with friends? I hesitated for a second, but when I thought about the difficulty, I gritted my teeth and pointed, okay, fuck. We quickly walked out of the corner and happened to be at the entrance of the elevator. When Huang Xiaowen saw us, her face turned pale and her phone almost didn't hold it. She smiled strongly and asked, Sister Xiao, Sister Qian, are you still here at night? I looked cold and said in a hard manner, Shi Wen, who are you talking to? It's quite interesting to hear it. She looked flickering and stammered, no, nothing, I just chatted with my friends and said a few words. I sneered, put on my phone, and played the recorded sound. Although it was a bit blurry, the words, inheritance, file, and sneaking, were still clearly heard. Huang Xiaowen's face changed suddenly, her lips trembled, and after a long time, she said, Sister Xiao, you misunderstood. I'm just kidding, I didn't really fuck anything. I didn't give her the chance to continue editing, so I just quipped, just. Can you secretly take pictures of company documents and pass them to Cheng Zhe of the Thunder Group? Is this also called joking? Huang Xiaowen, stop installing it, we have already figured out your details. She still wanted to make a mistake, but Qianxue directly added her knife, Xuan, the phone record and your phone chat record. Now that we hand it over, we can consider not to call the police. If you have to take it, you should think about the consequences yourself. As soon as this came out, Huang Xiaowen collapsed suddenly, her eyes were full of panic, and finally lowered her head and said, I'm wrong. Please don't call the police. I'll leave now, leave now. I snorted coldly, let's go. It's not that simple. We will report to the company for your business. What to do in the future depends on the meaning of the high level. However, from now on, don't want to take another step forward. Qianxue added, leave your phone first, and we need to check the things in it so that you won't be certified. Huang Xiaowen was not bad, so she could only hand over her phone, begging for her with her eyes wide open, but I had no sympathy in my heart. Such people are a victim of this kind. Finally, she was invited from the company building by the security guard. Qianxue and I looked at each other and finally relaxed. Although this battle was shocked, it was finally won. The next morning, Qianxue and I reported Huang Xiaowen's matter directly to the general manager, including the chat records on Jean and her mobile phone, and it was confirmed that it was impossible to get the money. After hearing this, the general manager said, his face was blushing and made a decision, this kind of person cannot be kept. I will leave the job process immediately, and all the members of the market will hold a meeting. This matter must be handled publicly, so that everyone knows the company's attitude towards ghosts. At noon, at the meeting of all members of the market, the general manager announced the news that Huang Xiaowen was dismissed. Although she did not explicitly say that she was a fellow, she was asked about her problems outside the words, and she also specifically expressed that Qianxue and I knowing the problem to protect the interests of the company. When I was talking about private words in the conference room, many colleagues' eyes changed when they looked at me. From the previous suspicion and cold eyes, they turned into admiration and curiosity. After the meeting, Xiao Zhang came and said with admiration, Sister Xiao, why did you find that Huang Xiaowen has a problem? She usually looks quite old. I smiled and raised her hand, look at it. You will understand something when you see too much. Whoever is really fake can tell at a glance. Xiao Zhang sighed, awesome. You deserve to be the top pillar of our market. Sister Xiao, I admire it. I smiled and knew in my heart that this could be accomplished, so I would have more cooperation with the study and Qianxue. Although Huang Xiaowen's appearance made me feel a little angry, it also made me understand more that the Thunder Group's success will never be willing to let go. He sent a gangster to the point that he had already set his sights on us, and there would definitely be more ruthless tricks in the future. Sure enough, in the afternoon, news came from internal news that the Thunder Group suddenly spoke to the outside world, saying that it would reduce the price by another 10 points and continue to snatch our customers. This operation is clearly a report. Chengze, the guy, probably knew that Huang Xiaowen was exposed and planned to use the price battle to directly crush us. My heart sank. This battle is not easy to fight, but at least the interior is cleaned up, so I can focus on dealing with external enemies. But I never expected that the internal problems were not finished yet. In the evening, Qianxue came to me and her face was not very good. Shaohan, I just heard that Qinhao's old man was causing trouble in the board meeting. He spread rumors, saying that your method of handling Huang Xiaowen was too aggressive, which made the company's internal people panic. He also said intentionally and unintentionally, saying that you might be borrowing the opportunity to eliminate your own position and strengthen your position. After listening, I was so angry that I almost slapped the table. Why don't you like Qinhao, the old fox, do you want to have a face? I finally caught a ghost to protect the interests of the company. If he didn't say anything, he wouldn't let it go, but he would bite me. I sneered, he's because I'm so in a hurry lately that I can't sit still. Okay, I want to see what kind of trouble he can make on the board. Qianxue said with the eyebrows, don't be moved. Chen Hao is a man of great thoughts. He is talking now, probably because he wants to leave your relationship with other high-level ones, so that everyone can feel that you are not easy to get along with. You have to calm down and not get caught in his trap. I clicked my head and a fire ignited in my heart. Chen Hao, you want to play, right? Then let's have fun. I have a good understanding of the knowledge, and I can hear clearly who is right and wrong in the board of directors. It's not that easy for you to mess with me. When I got home at night, I lay on the bed, my brain was all about today. Huang Xiaowen was removed, which made me feel a little angry and made the company look at me internally. The team atmosphere in the market has improved a lot. But Chen Hao's rumors and the price battle of Cheng Zhe are like two knives on my head. I know that this battle has just been fought, and no one can relax in the internal and external battles. I clenched my fists and told myself, Shaohan, stay calm. Whether it is Chen Hao's move or Cheng Zhe's report, I have to break it. Reading the mind is my trump card, but I can't rely solely on it. Next, I have to discuss a long-term plan with Qianxue and get the initiative in my hands. On the other side, in the office of the Thunder Group, Cheng Zhe heard the report on the phone, his face was dripping. He snorted coldly, even the waste of Huang Xiaowen, even this thing is not good, and he was caught and performed. Shaohan is indeed a little capable. However, the game is not over yet, and the price battle is just the first step. Next, I will make the sky unable to turn over. After speaking, he picked up his cell phone, passed a number, and spoke in a low voice, prepare the second plan, and the business must allow Tianqian customers to change jobs without leaving any left. In addition, if you find someone to dig out Shaohan's bottom, I want to see what secret she has hidden. At this time, I still knew nothing about Cheng Zhe's actions, but I just made up my mind secretly. No matter what kind of storm was ahead, I had to stay up. Huang Xiaowen is just the beginning, and the real challenge is still at the back. I, Shaohan, will never let anyone step on the head. Tomorrow, I have to discuss solutions with Qianxue. Whether it is Chen Hao inside or the external successor, I will let them know that provoking me is their biggest mistake. I sat in the office, holding a stack of market reports in my hand, and my face was as hard as the sun on the outside. Cheng Zhe of the Thunder Group is indeed not a vegetarian. Since Huang Xiaowen was removed from office, he has not been in a state of peace for a few days and has directly launched a full-scale market suppression. This time, it is not a simple price battle, but a number of small companies have been joined together to form a temporary alliance to carry out a full-line suppression of our Tianqi technology products. They not only suppressed the price to a disparate level, but also spread rumors, saying that our technology was problematic and the product was unstable, which made many customers start to move. What's worse is that this wave of operations directly affects the company's share price. At the close yesterday, stock prices plummeted 15%, setting a new low in the past 2 years. The internal scholarship also collapsed. My colleagues in the market were so excited every day that even the most entertaining little Zhang began to mutter, Sister Xiao, how to fight this battle. Thunder is like helping others, our customers are almost gone. I comforted him, stay calm, there is always a way. But I actually had no idea. Cheng Zhe played this trick too hard, and he knew that he wanted to force us to the end. What made me even more angry was that Chen Hao, the old fox, started to cause trouble again. Taking advantage of the turmoil within the company, he was directly in the board meeting and proposed to conduct an emergency vote, saying that it was to reevaluate the ability of the management level, and clearly came from the position of the general manager. At the internal meeting, he looked like he was thinking about the company, and he was very angry, now that the company's stock price has fallen so much, and someone in the management level must come forward and be responsible. We have to choose a more capable person to take the company out of the predicament. I sat in the corner of the meeting room, listening to his words, my teeth almost shattered. Responsible? Responsible for nothing. The company's situation was obviously caused by the Thunder Group's suppression. Not only did Chen Hao not help but think of solutions, he took advantage of the situation and clearly wanted to take advantage of the situation. I concentrated on my mind and listened to his thoughts. Sure enough, his proud voice sounded in my brain, "This opportunity is so good." As soon as the stock price fell, everyone was panicked. As long as I pass the vote, I can take the position of the general manager. Shaohan, don't want to jump again. My heart sank. Chen Hao, the old man, is really homeless. But this is not the worst. I continued to hear the voices of other directors and found that several people had been bought by Chen Hao and were ready to support him when voting. One director muttered in his heart, "Chen Hao promised to give me a red project, and it would be nothing to vote for him." Another thought, "Anyway, the company is almost out of reach, so it's nothing to say about changing personal trials." I clenched my fists, and the fire in my heart became even stronger. There is really no worry-free helper inside. There is a burden outside and Chen Hao is causing trouble inside. My position as the manager of the market is like a crater. After the meeting, I found Qianxue and told her everything about the board. After hearing this, Qianxue pointed her eyebrows and analyzed, "Shaohan, the situation is worse than I thought. Chen Hao is going to take advantage of the stock price plummeting and directly pull you and the general manager down. Although your current mentality can know their thoughts, it is useless to know it. We must have a practical action and stabilize the company's situation, otherwise you will not have the chance to turn around the board on the day of the vote." I asked her, "Then what do you think?" Now that the customer has run halfway through, the stock price has fallen so hard that I can't see it. Even if I have the scheming of my mind, I can't transform my customers. Qianxue pondered for a while, and her eyes suddenly lit up. "Customer. By the way, isn't there a huge order recently talking about it? It's a cooperation with the Hongyuan Group, and I heard that their orders can top our career achievements for half a year. If I can win this order, it will not only stabilize the stock price, but also give the board an explanation to block Chen Hao's mouth." As soon as I heard it, a burst of hope ignited in my heart. Hongyuan Group is indeed a big customer, and the order amount in hand is very high. If it can be signed, it will definitely be a life-saving straw. But the problem is that Hongyuan's old director Lu is famously picky. We have talked about 2 rounds before, but neither of them can reach a common understanding. Now the Thunder Group is in a behind-the-scenes game, and the difficulty is doubled. I gritted my teeth and said, "Okay, I'll fight. I must take this one. Qianxue, please help me prepare information, we will go to the General Lu tomorrow." Qianxue clicked her head and patted my shoulder, "Don't worry, I have sorted out the market data and competition analysis. You have a reading technique on the scene. We have to deal with it. There is no reason to get it." I replied to her with a smile, "With you here, I have been experiencing a lot in my heart." But I didn't expect that Chen Hao's actions were faster than I thought. That night, I received an anonymous email full of chat screenshots from the board. Although it was not stated explicitly, the words inside were hinting that I was insufficient in ability and alluding to the fact that I and the general management was inappropriate, which led to the company coming to this point. I knew at a glance that this was Chen Hao's handwriting. I guess I wanted to use the argument to press me first and make other directors lose confidence in me. I was so angry that I almost smashed my computer, but when I thought about it, it was not the time for a fire. I had to calm down and turn this into my chance. The next morning, I took Qianxue's prepared information and went straight to the office building of Hongyuan Group. President Lu was already waiting in the meeting room, and with an impatient expression on his face, he said, "Manager Xiao, I don't have much time. Let's talk shortly. I have seen your recent market performance today. The stock price has fallen so much, and customers are still losing. Why do I believe you can complete this order?" I felt nervous, but on the surface I still replied with a smile, "General Lu, the market fluctuation is temporary, and our ever-increasing technology and services are well known in the industry. In this cooperation, we not only provide the best products, but also prepare a set of customized solutions to ensure that your needs are met with the greatest satisfaction. As I said, I signaled the team to pass the data over, while focusing on learning from General Lu's ideas. His voice quickly echoed in his brain, "The Heaven is very good at helping people, but there are too many news recently, and the price on the Thunder is not bad. However, if they can really give real discounts, they can consider it again. The bottom line is that the price is reduced by another 8 points, and the delivery cycle is shortened by 1 month." I was delighted and I touched the bottom line. Although the price cut of 8 points will reduce low profits, if this unit can be signed, the company will be able to catch its breath and the stock price will be stable. As for the delivery cycle, it should be done when you go back and discuss with the production department. I pretended to look at the data with my head low, and then raised my head and smiled and said, "General Lu, in order to show our sincerity, we are willing to reduce the original price base by 8 points, and at the same time, the delivery cycle will be shortened to the time you expect." "Look, what's the case?" Lu raised his eyebrows and said nothing, but I heard him muttering, "This little girl really dares to report the price. 8 points are stuck on my bottom line, and the delivery cycle has also been resolved. Okay, I signed it first, don't let Thunder be cheap." He cleared his throat and said in the same way, "Well, the conditions are okay, I can barely accept it. The contract is ready, so I will sign it today." I strongly suppressed the excitement in my heart and said, "The contract can be signed at any time, don't worry, Lu." In less than an hour, the contract was finalized. Lu left with his assistant, and I leaned against the chair, breathing a sigh of relief. When Shaoli from the team came over, he was full of admiration. "Sister Shao, why are you so awesome? You have always taken down all this old stick of Lu." I smiled and said, "You are very excited and ready to go." But I was secretly proud in my heart. I read this card of mind. It's really life-saving at the key moment. The news of signing this huge order was sent back to the company, and the internal talent instantly raised a lot. The stock price closed down and rebounded by 5 points on the closing day. Although it had not recovered completely, it was at least stable. The general manager specifically expressed his gratitude at the internal meeting, saying that this order saves the company's life, and even the colleagues in the market looked at me lit up. But I didn't have time to be happy because Qin Hao's movements had not stopped yet. In the evening, I received a message from Qin Xue. She said that through some channels, she found that Qin Hao had recently had private contact with Cheng Zhe of the Thunder Group many times. Although there was no specific evidence, the time was too coincidental, just a few days before the Thunder development market was under pressure. My heart was shocked, and let Qin Xue continue to dig, and at the same time, I decided to use the reading skills to explore Qin Hao's bottom again when the board meeting was held tomorrow. The next day, the board meeting was held as scheduled. Chen Hao couldn't wait to mention the voting matter. His language was filled with hypocrisy of thinking about the company, everyone. Although the company has signed a Hongyuan unit, the overall situation is still very dangerous. I suggest that we vote to select a new management layer and take the company out of the predicament in a short time. After speaking, he glanced at me and sneered at the corner of his mouth. I sat in my seat, not swaying on the surface, and focused my mind and listened to his heart. Sure enough, his thoughts came to his mind. What if Shaohan takes Hongyuan? Chengze has already agreed to me. As long as I help me to destroy the sky, I will give me 10% of the shares of the Thunder Group after the matter is completed. I must win this vote. The position of the general manager is my only. My heart was shocked. Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe hooked up. This veteran actually betrayed the company and competed with the competition for personal interests. I suppressed my anger and continued to hear the thoughts of other directors. I found that several people were indeed bought by Chen Hao, and I was thinking about how much good things I could get when voting for him. But there are also several neutral directors who think Chen Hao is too impatient. Shaohan has performed well recently, and Hong Yuan's singles have also signed up. Is it too hasty to change people? I thought the speed played in my mind was that Chen Hao had advantages, but not just a piece of iron plate. If I could catch the evidence of his connection with Cheng Zhe, and expose him on the spot, I might be able to reverse the situation. But the problem is that I can only read the thoughts I heard from my mind, and I don't have to prove it. If I say it, others may not believe it. Instead, Chen Hao may bite it back and say I'm telling me. Just as he was thinking, Chen Shue suddenly posted a WeChat message to me, Shaohan, I found a line. Chen Hao recently had a private account and received a large amount of transfers from unknown sources. The time is worthy of the days when thunder suppressed our market. I am tracing the source of the transfer, and I guess I can't get rid of Cheng Zhe. You can hold on to the board of directors first, and I will get the certificate as soon as possible. After reading the news, I was happy. Qian Shue's efficiency was so simple and impressive. With this thread, I can at least delay the time and wait until the certificate is received before counterattacking. I looked up at Chen Hao and smiled and said, President Chen, the voting matter is indeed important, but now the company has signed a Hongqi order and the talent is recovering. Is it too urgent to change the management level? Why not watch for a while and give everyone a scrutiny? Chen Hao's face froze. He didn't expect me to rebel. He said hard, Shaohan, are you delaying the time? The company has reached this point, why are you still sluggish? If you drag it down, the stock price will fall again. Who is responsible? I heard him muttering, why is this difficult girl? You must press her as soon as possible, otherwise it will be difficult to explain to Chengze. I sneered and continued, President Chen, we don't have to hurry up on the matters that are responsible. Hong Yuan's order has stabilized. Next, there are several large customers in the market department discussing. If they can be won, the company will be able to turn the voting in a short while. It's not bad to say that it's a few days later, right? Several neutral directors heard my words and pointed to the same. After all, Hong Yuan's orders have really given everyone confidence. Chen Hao's strong voting is too impatient. Chen Hao's face was even harder to see, but he couldn't make it difficult on the scene, so he could only snort coldly, okay, then wait a little longer. But Shaohan, don't let everyone down. I smiled and said politely, don't worry, President Chen, I will do my best. I made up my mind secretly. This old man, when Qian Shue's certificate is obtained, I want you to go over the car. The meeting ended, Qian Shue and I met and discussed the next plan. Qian Shue told me that she had contacted a financial friend to help track down the source of funds of Chen Hao's account, and the results will be achieved tomorrow as soon as possible. I pointed out, okay, once the certificate is confirmed, we will directly hold the cards at the board meeting, which will make Chen Hao unable to turn over. In addition, here in the market, I will continue to travel to customers, fight for a few more units, and give the company more confidence. Qian Shue smiled and patted me on the shoulder, okay, with your mentality in mind, there will definitely be no problem in the debate. Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe help us, let's clean up together. I pointed, and a fire ignited in my heart. Hong Yuan's order made me turn over a lot of money, and exposing the hooks between Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe even gave me a piece of heart. Although the situation is still dangerous, at least I see hope. When I got home at night, I lay on the bed, my brain full of today's species. Chen Hao's traits, the pressure from the stern, and the unstable men in the board of directors all made me feel very stressful. But I told myself, Shaohan, stay calm. Reading the mind is my trump card, and Qian Shue is my back. No matter what is ahead, I have to stay on top. Next, whether it is internal power struggles or external siege, I want them to know that I, Shaohan, are not easy to mess with. On the other side, in the office of the Thunder Group, Cheng Zhe heard Chen Hao's report on the phone, his face was so deep that it could drip. He snorted coldly, Chen Hao, don't you say that voting can be successful? Why was it delayed by Shaohan? What happened to this woman recently? She can be ruined every time. No, we must increase our efforts and add another code to the market. I want to let the sky collapse in the end. At this time, I still knew nothing about Cheng Zhe's new actions, but I just secretly calculated in my heart that I would like to confirm the progress with Qian Shue tomorrow and prepare for the next debate. No matter what tricks Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe have, I have to let them know that provoking me is their biggest mistake. I sat in the office, holding the documents just posted by Qianxue in my hand. It was a detailed record of Chen Hao's private account receiving unknown transfers. The source of funds pointed directly to a shore account of the Thunder Group. Qianxue stayed up late last night and dug out this thread with her financial friend, and even found a screenshot of the email between Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe, which clearly wrote, cooperation conditions, after the collapse of the sky, Thunder will share 10% of your shares. This certificate is as hard as an iron plate, and it is difficult for Chen Hao to turn over this time. I took a deep breath and the fire in my heart was burning vigorously. This afternoon is the board meeting. Chen Hao thought he could sit on the fishing platform and continue his voting. He didn't know that I had prepared a heavy punch to smash his dream directly. Qianxue sat opposite me, took a sip of coffee, her eyes were filled with excitement. Shaohan, this certificate is hard. As long as Chen Hao dares to jump, we will let him die in the community. But you have to stay calm. The board of directors is not all easy to speak, don't let them be deviated by Chen Hao's fancy words. I pointed and said with a smile, don't worry, I have the heart to read, I can hear whatever they think in their hearts. Chen Hao is not only going to step down today, but also has to show his fox tail. Qianxue raised her eyebrows and said, then I'll wait and see. Remember to save some face and don't make that old guy look down on the spot. I couldn't help laughing, and my heart was even more determined. Chen Hao, you have decided on this. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in the board meeting room, the atmosphere was as intense as a string. Chen Hao sat next to the main seat, still like an old god on his face, saying a high-sounding word, everyone, although the company has improved recently, the overall situation is still very dangerous. I propose again to conduct a management voting, and choose a more suitable person to lead the sky to get out of the predicament. After speaking, he glanced at me and sneered out of the corner of his mouth, as if he was already holding the coupon. I sat in my seat, not swaying on the surface, and focused my mind and listened to his thoughts with my mind. Sure enough, his voice sounded in his brain, no matter how capable it is useless. I have bought 3 people in the vote today. The position of the general manager is my only. When I get to the top, the first thing is to kick her out of the company. I sneered in my heart, Chen Hao, do you really think you have no plans? When you cry, you'll be crying. I continued to watch other directors and listen to their hearts. Sure enough, there were a few people who were bought by Chen Hao, and they were all thinking about how much they could get if they voted for him, but there were also a few neutral ones. The idea was, Chen Hao is too anxious. Shaohan recently won the Hongyuan order and performed well. Is it a hasty to change people? I had a clear idea. The current situation is beneficial to Chen Hao, but as long as I throw the evidence out, those neutral directors will definitely turn against him. Chen Hao saw me without saying a word, thinking I was suppressed, and his vocalization became even worse. Shaohan, although the market department has recently taken several units, the stock price has not completely recovered, and the loss of customers has not stopped. Should you, the market manager, give us an explanation? Otherwise, you also express your opinion in this vote and support changing people, right? I looked up at him, smiled at the corner of my mouth, and said slowly, Mr. Chen, there is no hurry to vote. After all, the company was stable. If you change too quickly, it will only make everyone even more panic. However, before discussing the voting, I have something to share with you about some little secrets within the company. When talking about the 3 words, little secrets, I deliberately aggravated my temperament. Chen Hao's face turned out to be stiff, and there was a slight anxiety in his eyes. I didn't have the opportunity to react to him, so I took out the documents from my bag, stood up and walked to the center of the conference table, and my voice was clear, Dear directors, this information in my hand is about some private transaction records about Chen Hao and President Chen. You may not know that President Chen has received a large number of books recently. The amount of money transfer comes from a bank account of the Thunder Group, and the time is just a few days before the Thunder demoted us. In addition, there was also a ban, which was clearly written in it. President Chen agreed to help Thunder destroy the sky and take 10% of their shares after the matter was completed. As soon as this came out, the meeting room exploded instantly. Several directors talked about each other and started talking in private, and even the few people who were bought by Chen Hao began to move. I heard their thoughts, and a director muttered, "A veteran Chen Hao is really a rapport with thunder. If this is true, isn't it going to be a death for him?" Another thought, "This is a big deal, Chen Hao is over, I can't go into the water with him." Chen Hao's face was blue and slapped the table suddenly, shouting, "Shaohan! What are you talking nonsense? This is slander. When did I get into thunder? Do you have any evidence? Don't think you can just take a few sheets of paper." I sneered and threw the document directly in front of him. "General Chen, the certificate is here, the transfer record, email clipping, and the time and amount are clear. If you don't agree, we can ask the professional organization to decide to see if this is true." I said that I heard his thoughts with my mind. Sure enough, he was so panicked. How did this little girl get these things? I obviously handled them very cleanly. No, I must bite them to death, otherwise it will be over. I was delighted. Chen Hao was so stupid. I took advantage of the heat to turn the iron and said to other directors, "Everyone, President Chen has hooked up with rivals and betrayed the interests of the company. If such a person stays on the board, who can guarantee that he will not sell us again? I think it's better to change President Chen's position first. What do you think?" As soon as this was released, several neutral directors, Lima, and one who was bought by Chen Hao before, also spoke up for it. "Yes, Shaohan's words make sense. You can't keep such people. Chen Hao, please explain it clearly, otherwise we will make a statement today and kick you out of the board of directors." Chen Hao's face was as white as paper, and he still said, "Don't listen to her nonsense, this is all fake. I am loyal to the company. How could I do this?" I didn't give him the opportunity to continue cunning, so I directly added a knife. "General Chen, loyalty? Then why don't you ask everyone to check the source of this account? If it's true, what are you afraid of? Or say, are you feeling stupid?" As soon as this came out, Chen Hao was speechless, sitting there sweating profusely, with panic in his eyes. I heard the thought in his heart, "It's over, these people won't believe me anymore. This little girl is so cruel. Why did I fall into her hands?" In the end, the board of directors unanimously passed the decision. When Chen Hao was kicked out of the board of directors, the general manager announced, "Chen Hao, from now on, you are no longer a member of the world. The company will continue to pursue the legal responsibility in the future." When Chen Hao was "please" out of the meeting room by the security guard, his face was as gray as a domestic dog. He glared at me when he left, but I only felt happy and had no sympathy. After the meeting, the general manager specially called me to the office and patted my shoulder and said, "Shaohan, you are fucking beautifully this time. Chen Hao should have cleaned up long ago. Now the company can finally be grouped together. The position of the manager of your market is stable, and there is another empty seat in the board meeting. Everyone is optimistic about you and will fight to move in at the end of the year." I smiled and knew in my heart that this was just the first step. The internal troubles were solved, and the external support was still waiting for me to clean up. In the evening, Qianxue and I celebrated at the restaurant near the company. Qianxue put on a wine glass and smiled like a flower. "Shaohan, this battle is so good today. Chen Hao, that old man, I guess he didn't expect that he would fall in your hands when he was dreaming. With my heart and my certificate, I simply had no enemies to combine." I laughed. "That's not." Chen Hao was hit on the face, so he remembered it. However, Qingze has not stopped, and the recent market of thunder has been even more severe. We have to fight back, otherwise we will be in vain. Qianxue pointed her head, put down her wine glass, and her expression became stern. "At this point, I recently cracked Thunder's market strategy. They mainly attract customers with low prices, and also joined forces with several small companies to share costs. On the surface, it seems very strong, but in fact it is not stable. Those small companies cooperate with Thunder for short-term interests. As long as we can give better conditions, they will change jobs at any time." My eyes lit up. isn't that just saying, can we dig the wall? Qianxue smiled and pointed, yes. I have contacted the responsible persons of 2 of the companies. They are not satisfied with Thunder's distribution method. They think Qingze eats meat and drinks soup. As long as we give it a little sweet, 80% will be able to get over it. In addition, I also analyzed Thunder's price battle. Their current quotes are so low that they are almost no profit. It won't take long. As long as we take a few more customers, Qingze will collapse. After listening, a group of fire ignited in my heart. Lima said, okay, I will take the team to discuss these 2 companies tomorrow, and then I will go to a few more customers. With the knowledge of my heart, I don't believe that I can't take it. Qingze wants to press me, but there is no door. Qianxue touched me with a cup, then I will dry up this cup. I wish us a big fight against the war. The next morning, I took the market team and headed straight to the first target company, Xuanjie Logistics. This company is a relatively weaker circle in the Thunder Alliance. The responsible person is Mr. Zhou, who holds many resources from small and medium-sized customers in his hand. Qianxue and I prepared a cooperation plan in advance, and the price was a little higher than that of Thunder, but it was accompanied by free technical support and long-term priority supply conditions, which was very sincere. At the table, President Zhou was still sarcastic at first. Manager Shao, Thunder's price is really low, and we have been working together for a while. Yu Tianqi wants to pull me, but the conditions must be tough. I smiled and didn't speak loudly on the surface. I only used my mind to listen to his thoughts. Thunder has been too little profit recently, and I would have been unhappy. If Tianqi can give 5 more profits, there will be additional benefits, so I will jump right away. I was delighted and I touched the bottom line. I pretended to look at the documents with a low head, and then raised my head and said, Prime Weekly, our price is 5 points higher than that of Thunder. We also provide free technical upgrades for the first year, and we can arrange supply in the future. You can cooperate with Thunder, and the profits are not much reduced. Come here, we will be long-term. It's absolutely right. General Zhou raised his eyebrows, and he didn't express his feelings, but I heard him muttering, the 5 points are just stuck in my expectations, and the technical upgrade is not bad. Okay, I signed it first, don't let Thunder trick me again. In the end, he agreed and the contract was finalized on the spot. In the next few days, I ran to 2 Thunder Alliance companies with the team in a row, relying on my careful reading of their skills to block their bottom line, and pulled them over. As the news came out, the market exploded, the Thunder's Alliance began to move, and other small companies also began to watch, and even actively contacted us to explore cooperation intentions. At the same time, I also won the orders of 2 major customers, directly bringing back the market share to a large extent. At the Thunder Group, Qingze heard the news and his face was so slight that it was dripping. He sat in the office and smashed the table hard. What's going on with a woman like Shaohan? She can fight this way every time, and the company in my alliance has been poached by her. No, I have to add another fire, otherwise Thunder will be moved. But what he didn't know was that their price battle was almost impossible to stop, and the internal capital chain began to get tight, and the loss of customers and allies was even worse. A week later, Tianqi's stock price finally rebounded to normal levels, and internal talent was greatly boosted, and colleagues in the market looked at me like heroes. Xiao Zhang ran to me and said, Sister Xiao, your operation is so awesome. Thunder is stunned now and heard that they are quarreling inside. I smiled and said, this is not over yet. Qingze will not easily recognize that guy. We have to keep staring at him, don't give him the chance to flip the plate. In the evening, Qianxue and I were in the office for the few days of war. Qianxue smiled and said, Shaohan, Thunder has been forced to the corner of the wall by you. Qingze probably wouldn't even think that he would be suppressed by you when he was dreaming. Next, as long as he adds more and wins the last few key customers, Thunder will never get over. I pointed and knew in my heart that although the battle was won most of the time, Qingze must have a backup plan, so I have to be careful. On the other side, in the office of the Thunder Group, Cheng Zhe heard the assistant's report and his face became increasingly difficult to read. He snorted coldly, "Shaohan, I underestimate you. But the game is not over yet. I don't believe that you can always be so smooth." After speaking, he picked up his phone, clenched a number, and spoke in a low voice, "Prepare the last move, and the battle will definitely make the sky unable to turn over." At this time, I was sitting in the office, knowing nothing about Cheng Zhe's new actions, but I just made up my mind to myself. No matter what challenges there are, I would take the sky to the end. Chen Hao has fallen, Cheng Zhe can no longer hold back, and the victory is right in front of me. I, Shaohan, will never let anyone catch my way. I sat in the office, holding the cooperation plan I had just sorted out, and my heart beat a little fast. In the past few weeks, Qianxue and I have fought hard battles with Tianqi technology, kicking out the old fox Chen Hao from the inside, and outside, we have dug up several key companies from the alliance of the Thunder Group, and the market share has been pulled back a lot. Now, the Thunder's price battle is almost overwhelming, and the internal funds are tight, and customers and allies are changing jobs. Cheng Zhe's guy is probably sweating profusely. But I know that this battle has not ended yet, and Cheng Zhe will never be easily recognized. This next blow must be fatal. Qianxue pushed in, holding a stack of market analysis reports in her hand, and had a few points on her face. "Shaohan, the opportunity is here. I just received the news that the largest customer in the industry, Shanghai International, is looking for new partners, and their order amount can be our year-long career performance. Whoever wins this order can directly dominate the market. The Thunder Group is also fighting, and he has come out of his own way and heard that he has met the old General Zhang of Shanghai." My eyes lit up. Star Sea International. I am too familiar with this name. They are the biggest bullies in the industry, and the resources and channels in their hands directly affect the market structure. If they can be taken down, Tianqi will not only sit firmly in the dragon's head, but also completely crush the Thunder, making Cheng Zhe unable to turn over again. I asked, "Have you found out the bottom line and demand clearly? I must take this one." Qianxue smiled and pointed, "Don't worry, I've already touched the bottom. Mr. Zhang values long-term stable cooperation, and the price is second, mainly because he is afraid that the partners will not be able to withstand the market pressure. He has a stake in Thunder's price battle, and he thinks that their financial chains are unstable and may collapse at any time. Our advantage is that several large orders have been implemented recently, and the market performance is very strong. As long as you can convince him, you will definitely succeed." I clicked my head and a fire ignited in my heart. With the mind in hand, I can hear Zhang Zong's thoughts clearly. As long as I accurately jammed his bottom line, this single piece would not be able to escape. I said, "Okay, I will go to the meeting tomorrow. Qianxue, you can sort out the historical cooperation data of Shanghai and Thunder's recent financial situation, so I will give me some medicine." Qianxue compared an okay hand. "No problem, I will accompany you tomorrow. We will combine the two dramas and carry on this designated car." The next morning, Qianxue and I took our team straight to the headquarters of Shanghai International. In the meeting room, Mr. Zhang was already sitting in the main seat, in his 50s, with a strong aura and a serious expression on his face. There were several executives sitting next to us, looking at us with their eyes. As soon as I sat down, General Zhang went straight to the topic. "Manager Xiao, Shanghai's cooperation requirements are very high. We need a partner who can be stable for a long time. Although you have performed well recently, the market has fluctuated too much and the stock price has just recovered. Why do I trust you to withstand the pressure?" I felt nervous, but on the surface I still replied with a smile, "General Zhang, market fluctuation is a common industry situation, but the strength of the world is obvious to all. Recently, we have successively won several large orders such as the Hongyuan Group, and the market share has rebounded stably, and the stock price has stopped falling and rebounded. By cooperating with us, you can not only get top-notch products and services in the industry, but also have a reliable long-term partner." During my speech, I focused and listened to General Zhang's ideas with my mind. His voice quickly echoed in his brain, the girl Tianqi said it very well. Recently, several singles have been well known, and the market performance is much stronger than Thunder. However, Thunder's price is 10 points lower, and he also promised to supply first. If Tianqi can match this condition or give extra benefits, I will be more inclined to them. The bottom line is at least 8 points lower, and there must be a guarantee mechanism. I was delighted and touched the bottom line. We can accept the 8 points of the price reduction, and the guarantee mechanism is also important to make him lose confidence in Thunder. I pretended to look at the files with my head low, and then raised my head and smiled and said, "Total Zhang, in terms of price, we are willing to drop 8 points in the original price base, and provide free technical upgrades and 24/7 emergency support for the first year to ensure that your business is not affected by any market fluctuations." In addition, I heard that Thunder's capital link has recently been reported. It's very tight, and the price won't take long, and the risk of cooperation is much higher than that of us. You signed a contract with us and you won't be able to pay. Qianxue replenished her knife next to her. Yes, Mr. Zhang, we still have a Thunder's financial data here, indicating that their mobile funds are close to the warning line and may collapse at any time. If you work with them, the risk is too great. Zhang Zong raised his eyebrows and said nothing, but I heard him muttering, the price reduction is 8 points, and the conditions are similar to Thunder, but the guarantee mechanism of Tianqi is better. Thunder has indeed heard that there is a problem with the funds. Okay, sign with Tianqi first, don't be cheated by Thunder. He cleared his throat and said in the same way, well, the conditions are okay, and I can only accept it. The contract is ready, sign it today. I strongly suppressed the excitement in my heart and said, the contract can be signed at any time, don't worry, Mr. Zhang. In less than an hour, the contract was finalized. Mr. Zhang left with the executives. Qianxue and I looked at each other and finally relaxed. Shaoli from the team came over and admired her. Sister Shao, why can you take this hard head every time? Mr. Zhang is convinced by you. It's so awesome. I smiled and said, I'm ready and my energy is so strong. But I was secretly proud in my heart. I read this card of mind. I never disappointed me when I was in the key. With a sign of Shanghai International's order, the news spread throughout the industry. Tianqi Technology's market share rose directly to the top, with its share price soaring 20% that day, setting a record high. The internal scholarship was even more overwhelming. The eyes of colleagues in the market were almost on the look of stars. The general manager made a public statement at the meeting of all members. Shaohan won the Star C this time, which is a teaching and science book-level operation. Tianfu is what she is today, all depends on her lead. I said nothing, but I knew in my heart that this blow not only calmed down the sky, but also gave Thunder a fatal punch. Sure enough, when the Thunder Group heard the news, it finally collapsed. Shanghai International's order was their last life-saving straw, but now it was taken away by us. Their capital chains were directly broken, and internal allies ran away. Within a few days, news came out of the industry that the Thunder Group officially applied for a liquidation of the property because it could not pay off its debts. Chingzi said that he was bloody by shareholders at the last board meeting. Lianye ran away with his slaughtered funds. Unfortunately, he was still blocked by the debtor. Now he is in a lawsuit and has a very famous reputation. No one in the business world dares to cooperate with him again. I heard the news and sat in the office, breathing a sigh of relief. Chingzi, you have been able to make a lot of money in this situation. From the first time you sent Huang Xiaowen to the current price battle, you are calculating me every step. Unfortunately, you underestimated my Shaohan's ability. Reading the mind is my trump card, but what really brought me to this point was my ruthlessness that I didn't accept. The thunder fell, and the sky became the industry's dragon. This victory belongs to me and my team. Speaking of Huang Xiaowen and Chen Hao, this person's finale is not much better. After Huang Xiaowen was removed, she tried to switch to another company, but her identity as a member had long been revealed. No one in the industry dared to use her. In the end, she had to go back to her hometown to do a small business, and she heard that she was very down and out. Chen Hao was even more worried. After the board kicked him out, the company also pursued his legal responsibility. The reversal of the pen and thunder became an iron certificate. Now he is in a lawsuit, his family has been ruined, and there is no chance to turn things around. Qianxue heard the news and smiled and said to me, "This person was so crazy at the time, but now he is in this place. It's really alive." I was pointed, and there was only a sneer in my heart. Betrayal and calculations, and I always had to pay the price. This was what they asked for. A few months later, at the Tianqi Technology Annual Conference, I was officially promoted to the board of directors and became one of the youngest directors in the company's history. At the annual meeting, the general manager gave me the award of the Best Manager of the Year. The audience was filled with thunderous voices, and one of my colleagues shouted, "Sister Xiao is awesome." The scene made me a little embarrassed, but I felt a sense of accomplishment. From an ordinary market manager to now sitting in the board meeting, I have proved with my own strength that no one wants to underestimate me, Shaohan. After the end of the new year, the industry media reported on what I was guiding me and gave me the title of Queen of the Job, saying that I was a rising star in the business world and led the sky from the trough to the peak, which was a legend. I couldn't help laughing as I looked at the reports, and I knew in my heart how difficult it was to walk this path. If I hadn't read the mental skills, I might have been crushed by Chen Hao and Cheng Zhe long ago, but it was this ability that made me turn into a barbaric time and time again and seize every opportunity to flip the bill. But more importantly, I never gave up. Whether it was facing internal struggles or foreign wars, I gritted my teeth and stopped. This is the reason why I became the queen. In the evening, Qianxue and I had a small gathering in a bar near the company, and wished all this to be settled. Qianxue held the wine glass and smiled like a flower. "Shaohan, from today on, you are the queen of the job." Thunder fell, Chen Hao and Huang Xiaowen couldn't turn over, Tianqi was the first in the industry, and this end was so good. I laughed and touched her cup. "I have to thank you for this, Qianxue. Without your analysis and support, how could I get to this point? We are absolutely worthy." Qianxue held her hand. "Come on, your mind is the big killer, I am an assist. But seriously, what plan do you have next? You have become a queen, so you can't just rest like this, right?" I took a sip of wine, leaned on the back of the chair, looking at the distance. Stop. No door. Although Tianqi is a dragon, the market is always changing. I have to carry the company forward and open up new areas, so that Tianqi's name can spread all over the world. In addition, I also want to help those new people in the field, especially people who were looked down upon like me in my first year of junior high school, gave them opportunities to let them know that as long as they are willing to fight, everyone can turn over. After Qianxue finished hearing this, her eyes lit up. "Okay, Shaohan, this situation is big. I support you, let's have fun together, and there will be a bigger stage waiting for us in the future." The night was getting deeper, Qianxue and I were chatting, and my brain recalled the kinds of things along the way. From the first time I discovered my mind, to the first big order, from the understanding of Huang Xiaowen's identity, to kicking Chen Hao out of the board of directors, and to the final defeat of Qingze and signing Shanghai International's order, every step was like dancing on the tip of a knife, but I forced myself to walk over. I am no longer the little girl who was ridiculed by Chen Hao for being limited, or the manager looked down upon by everyone in the market. I am Shaohan, the queen of the job, and the person who took Tianqi to the peak. When I got home, I stood in front of the window and looked at the night view of the city, and my heart was filled with peace and satisfaction. In this battle, I won, not only Cheng Zhe and Chen Hao, but also myself. Reading the mind gives me insight into everything, but what really brought me to this day was the unwilling affair. In the future, no matter what challenges there are, I know that I can withstand it because I am Shaohan, the queen of the business world. When the story reaches this point, it really comes to the last sentence. I, Shaohan, have gone from an ordinary career, to a career legend. Only I know the ups and downs along the way. Thank you to everyone who accompanied me to the end, and to myself, I never gave up. Now, heaven is my battleground, and the business world is my stage. Next, I want the whole world to know that no one can win this queen.